So everyone has a story of running on stage and it's just like, hey guys, here's my dick. And then the director takes you to the side and goes, hey. And you go, yeah, I just figured out what a dance belt is.
Hello and welcome. I'm David.
And I'm Marcus.
And you're listening to So What Did You Say You Do? A podcast where we compare the job you have and the job your parents wish you had.
And this is our first bonus episode where we finally got Nicco del Rio in an interview. You see, he was 2 hours late because he slept in. And we were going to pull a little prank. We were all going to leave by the time he joined our call. But since he was nice and insightful.
Yeah, and he also had a great number of things to say. He does so many things, music, hockey, acting.
Yeah, but before we continue, we have some ground rules we want to cover.
Yeah, CAP, if you hear that, that's Capilano University, which is Nicco's training program. And if you hear anybody chime in, that's guests from our first episode.
And if you hear Bard on the Beach, that's a local Vancouver Shakespeare festival that happens every year in Vaillant Park. Also, Beer League. What is it? Let me tell you. It's a little recreational league of people with varying skills in hockey. They all come together and play hockey for the prize of beer. And without further ado,
here's our episode
where we get to ask, so, what did you say you do? I'm curious, Nicco, because it's interesting, you and I both went down a similar paths. We used to play hockey and then went into the artsy fartsies. How long did you play for?
I started either first or second year Pee Wee and then rode it out all the way to midget, and now I just play like beer league.
I started when I was like 11, so that was like...
Yeah, I was like 11, 12.
I legitimately quit.
Oh, yeah?
When I was, I want to say 15?
Okay.
2014. Yeah, so like I think just before I turned 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I go skating sometimes, but I haven't really played a game of hockey in forever.
Yeah, my dad's beer league team always needs like a goalie. And then we even got Brendan playing there a couple times. We're not good.
It doesn't matter.
But, it's beer league. It's fun. And as a goalie, I get to play more hockey on a beer league team.
So what do you think is something fun about being a goalie?
I know when I was young, I don't do it as much now, but kind of a side thing. When I was younger and, they're like way past the center line, like I just get to chill. I'd honestly just sing a little to myself. Like every goalie I've talked to has done that at some point in their life. They'll just like have a song stuck in their head, and then they're past the blue line, and you go, "Oh fuck!" And then you save the puck. But I had a goalie coach who told me one time, goalie's the one position where consistently, if you make a mistake, it ends up on the scoreboard. It's like, I could like skate out to play the puck, just miss it. And any other time, that's no problem, but it's in the net if you miss the goalie. So there's definitely that level of pressure that I definitely couldn't deal with as well when I was 12. But, you lose enough games, then you're like, oh, okay, that's just normal. And
you praise your goalie. You know what I mean? Like, it's like very much like I think everyone's like supporting the goalie. Like, even if like
it is cool that like, somebody snows me, then like
it's like, oh, that's that's not good.
So it is kind of cool, like, also knowing that from the goalie side of like, hey, all these guys really want to trust me and like me. So I'm gonna try my best to give them that,
It's really interesting how like protective we all are of our goalies.
Yeah, we always find something to do. I remember I was playing a game and the goalie on the other team somehow was like trying to chirp me from across the ice. Mm-hmm. So like just like small stuff, like I'd make an easy save and then he'd like bash his stick on the ice, and I'm like, great job, man.
Wow.
So he hit his stick on the ice throughout the entire game, probably like over 200 times. But every time he hit a stick on the ice, he'd do it like 2 or 3 times. I'd match the exact way he did it from like across the ice. So he'd play the puck, then come back in the net, and then he'd hit like 16 posts with his stick, and then like clean the ice from snow and stuff. And then I'd do the exact same thing. And then like a period later, he noticed and he was really mad by the end of the game.
You guys were dancing.
Yeah, it was great. He like flipped me off on the way off the ice and stuff. It was...
And then you were like, I love you.
Oh, yeah. Like, because I do play with, I guess most people I play with end up being like, 25 to 60, I guess, in beer league. Some people get mad. A lot of people are just like, it's chill. So like everyone on my team is chill about it, but Other teams still get really mad during beer league, and I'm not sure why.
Do you think being chirped as a hockey player has prepared you for like being a performer?
I think specifically being a goalie and like, you know, you let in a goal and then the other team lets you know that wasn't a nice goal. The level of embarrassment that you'd feel from being the one guy on the ice who fucked up, who did all that, you know, you're on the spot. And I think after doing a couple theater contracts and then coming back to theater, I remember putting on all my gear and it was like, oh, this feels remarkably like putting on my costume before a show. It's like, it's the same thing. You're backstage, you're putting on your stuff, you're getting hyped, you've got your music on, whatever. And then you go out onto this stage. And then, you know, so it's honestly pretty similar.
Was there anything that felt different when you did go back to hockey?
I became a lot more comfortable with people thinking I wasn't good at things. I guess is something that you learn in acting school.
You suck at everything. That's
Yeah,
what you
it's just
learn.
like, yeah, I do suck, but I'm okay with that. And I'm going to let that inform my performance. So
Wow.
kind of with hockey, it's just like, hey, those guys might think I suck. It'll suck for them if I make a really good save because they know I'm a shit goalie. They think I'm a shit goalie. So if I like shut them out, that's like the best thing I can do. I notice I chirp more. I used to not chirp, and then I started watching Letterkenny, and it's like, you know, the guys in the corner trying to start fights with everybody. It's really hard to not just go, what are you going to do?
I find with acting school, they kind of just like tear you apart and everything and who you are as a person.
Oh, yeah.
That everything feels like nothing. Someone after could be like, you're garbage. And you're like, okay. Like it just means nothing after that point.
Yeah. As an actor, you gotta, hey, look how awful a person I am in front of like 700 people. And like,
oh, yeah. I believe acting makes you a good person.
I think it does too. To be a good actor is to know how people work. And if you're not a shitty person and you know how people work, you can generally dance around things like you need to.
What do you find is like the big similarity or difference between like an acting coach or an acting teacher and a hockey coach?
Acting coaches or teachers or whatever, it's very about like, hey, here's what we're doing. Let's take like 100 steps back and figure out why that's happening. Or like, so it's like, hey, in this scene, you want to kiss this person. What are you doing actively to help yourself kiss that person? And how much does the other person know? And like stuff like that. The coaching you get for acting is 100% cerebral. And you'll maybe get a bit of like, hey, but yeah, walk there too.
It happens less often that you get a straightforward thing like, oh, do that differently. It's like, why are you doing it like that?
That's a much
What
better
brought
way
you
of
to
putting
that decision?
Yeah. You know, hockey's very objective. It's like, hey, you weren't at the point when they passed it to you. That's why you fucked up. Like, that's it. But with acting, it's like, hey, that scene felt a little weird. How did you feel about that? And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It felt a little different from last rehearsal. It's like, do you like it better? Or no, I don't think so. Okay, how about you do it this way?
Have you ever tried asking an acting teacher what exactly it was you did wrong?
No, I think I learned not to do that.
It doesn't work. Whereas like if I was like, what did I do badly, you know, in a sport or like in dance, they'd be like this, and this. But when you're like, what did I do badly in acting? Like, you weren't in it. I'm like, in what part? They're like, just work on it harder.
I guess,
or the return with a question.
Yeah, the level of subjectivity that exists is way different. Like, I'm sure there's, you know, a bunch of intricate hockey stuff I don't know about because I'm a goalie. But it's like, yeah, it's very... Why did you, like, stumble on this one word? Is that something that's, like, maybe... Yeah, I don't know.
Was that a choice?
Was that a choice?
Do you think that makes sense with the character's past?
Yeah.
You as an actor, do you feel like you could make a stronger choice if you were in the character? Like it's just an endless list of questions with no solid answers.
Yeah, it's very, very theoretical versus very concrete in hockey. But, you know, both coaches can still, like, be as intense as each other, I've found. Like, depending on what director or coach you get. Like, I've had hockey coaches chiller than directors I've had. I've had directors more intense than hockey coaches I've had. It's, like, kind of all over the place. But, like, there's more variation in styles of teaching acting than hockey, I guess. Not to, you know, downplay hockey at all.
No, but that makes sense because hockey is more it's physical. You just have to train your body to be in the right spot.
Yeah, it's like, hey, there's 3 kinds of
every
shots.
part of you to do it right.
Yeah, it's like, hey, learn your wrist shot, snap shot, slap shot. Acting, it's like, hey, talk to your parents. Know what that feels like.
Acting and hockey, it's interesting that you're limited by your body. You know, like I think I remember when I was playing hockey, there was a lot of times where I'm just like not that good at a slap shot. Just like it's just not something my body does well.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there's a lot of that expectation as an actor. Like, you know, you have to look a certain way to get a certain role. Yeah,
I guess like the stuff you can't control. Like I'm pretty skinny as far as goalies go. So usually people are, oh, you're a goalie? Like, wow. Yeah, like I'd probably be, you know, a less successful player than goalie, just because like goalie stuff clicked in my head a lot more. I was also a soccer goalie. Like, I don't know, I kind of just realized at a younger age I was better at like stopping shit that was coming at me than like launching something downrange. I don't really know how I came across that, but I was like, hey, goalie might be cool.
Does that echo in your acting at all? Like, do you find that you maybe are like a better listener?
I think so. Like there's that level of embarrassment that you hold with yourself when you go to auditions that you shouldn't have. And I feel like being a goalie helped me understand that like I can just shake things off, because I can like, you know, I'll let in like 6 goals, and like even if none of them are my fault, that's 6 goals I could have stopped. And I feel like shit, and I feel like you feel the eyes of everyone watching you, especially if you're at like a tournament or something and there's actually people in the stands. It's like, damn it. But then, you know, I go into an audition room and knowing that embarrassment, and then also learning how to be emotionally available through acting school, I can be in an audition room and 100% commit to whatever I need to do. Kind of not a great thing to do, but I like, you know, you'll listen to the people. You'll listen to the people in the room before, and then you'll go like, oh, they're not committing. That's great. I can hear that. And then you go in and you're like, hey, I'm already like top of the curve because I'm gonna fully pretend I shit my pants or whatever this audition is.
Just shit your pants.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, like, you know, got a method act.
Commit.
Went to Taco Bell beforehand.
Do you find you get cast in more leading or supporting roles?
So through school and stuff, like for theater stuff, I got like 1 or 2 leads, but for film and TV stuff, I think in the year or 2 I've been doing it, I've maybe had like 6 jobs, something like that.
Well, yeah, it's harder once you usually get supporting roles first when you graduate, but I was wondering for like school, because I think goalie sounds more like someone who would be cast as a lead. Like you're kind of protective of your lead. Then like I would suck as a goalie, and I only get supporting characters. Like I'm always like ha 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 ha, and then I leave.
I mean, I love playing like the funny side characters too, because you don't need to, like, do anything. But I played.
There's no pressure.
Yeah, probably the biggest like theater role I've played was Peter and the Starcatcher, and I got to play the boy / Peter. So I started off as just like this shit-kicked little kid, and then like.
That's
like,
my dream casting.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. Yeah.
I would love to be a shit little kid, and then Peter Pan. Don't I look like him?
Oh yeah. No, you got it. Yeah.
Aaron, you just need to look. You just need to find the funny side characters who turn into the lead.
Yeah. Oh, those are the best ones because you don't expect them, and then like it's great.
The real question is, did you wear the Speedo?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do you guys know what a dance belt is?
Oh, don't we?
Yes.
Oh my god, I had to wear a dance belt during a show, and then it was cut.
I have a fun story about a dance belt. Because I went to Studio 58.
Oh, yeah.
I was a production student, but all production students do 1 term of acting. So we had to all buy dance belts and leotards.
Oh, boy.
This has later become a thing that isn't
I didn't even have
anymore.
to buy leotards. That's crazy.
Yeah, oh man, it's like a $200 thing.
Yeah.
And, for the acting students, I can understand the investment, but like I'm gonna get rid of this thing in like 4 months.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Unless you're a professional ballet dancer, why the fuck are you protecting your nuts?
Also, mine was all white. I would like to. My leotard was all white.
Oh no.
And so like you kind of just eventually accept that notion that I'm just gonna be this guy in a big all white thing. But at the end of my first term at studio, I ended up selling it to someone else.
Yeah.
But you sold your nut holder?
Yep.
I forgot the real name. Your ballet bed.
You know what's funny is to compare performance in hockey again. The relationship of dance belt and jockstrap, Oh
yeah.
That's a whole
See, the dance belt protects you from yourself.
Yeah.
The job protects you from external force.
I guess the dance belt also protects others from yourself as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
You know when someone's not wearing a dance belt. You know?
I was gonna say, everybody who has been in a situation where you have to wear a dance belt didn't know you had to the first time.
Yeah.
So everyone has a story of running on stage and it's just like, hey guys, here's my dick. And then the director takes you to the side and goes, hey, and you go, yeah, I just figured out what a dance belt is. I will go buy one of those.
Yeah.
Today. I had to wear like this fucking thin ass spandex like monkey suit, like literal like monkey suit, and it was for Theater Under the Stars. So I'm in the middle of Stanley Park on this raised stage during dress rehearsal. And just walk out and I'm like, yep, everybody, I'm aware. You can see my entire penis. just don't. And then everybody was like, oh yeah, man. Like nobody found it weird. They were just like, oh yeah, I didn't know what a dance belt was either. And I was like, great.
There you go.
Thanks, guys. I thought this costume would be slightly thicker.
Have you done anything else with Bard on the Beach?
No, actually. I did that one contract right out of school. And
It's
then
a good contract.
How was that?
Oh my, it was like religious. It was a great it was a great time. I was kind of like in hindsight I was super exhausted because I just did, all of high school, straight into university, did 3 years of uni. And then before I even graduated, I got like the contract, which is 6 months of every day except Mondays off. By the time you're doing shows, it's 8 shows a week. And it was amazing. Like I learned so much. I had a great time. I feel like I've made some connections with like actual Vancouver theater actors. It was sick. Yeah. I guess I can say this. A couple people would like, I remember one guy after a show, he was like, hey man, sorry if I'm being forward, but like, do you like smoke weed? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, I brought one. And I'm like, dude, no way. Like actually this actor who I he's like a cool dude to me. And he was like, yeah, let's smoke some weed. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is what we do now. Yeah, honestly, just great contract. I've been definitely focusing more on like film and TV stuff now, but I'm definitely like still looking at, when they're having auditions and stuff, because I forget exactly how it works, but I think now that I'm a quote unquote established actor within the Bard thing, I can like skip generals.
Yeah, they know your
like,
name.
Yeah, like I can skip generals, go straight in and like even audition for a specific role, I think. I haven't really done that yet, but that was 2018. I guess it's been like almost 2 years now. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, Bard's a great gig. Dave, both of us have like experience with Bard.
Yeah.
Last summer, I worked as a production member, just like helping install the sets.
I was a riotous youth and intern for 2 years. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Like literally everyone in that company is just really gracious and super nice. It's kind of crazy.
They're so responsible for the start of like hundreds upon hundreds of careers.
Yeah. When I was doing the show and I had like, I had a conversation with a couple like film TV agents, but eventually by the end of Bard, I was like, hey, I've still got some comps. I'll invite you and your assistant, Miss Agent, to come to our show.
Oh.
And then they saw the show and they were like, yeah, hey, we already liked you from Cap, so we'll take you. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. And then I remember I was still doing the contract by the time I had an agent for like film and TV. And I was like, hey, this contract's still going to go for a bit. Like our run got extended. I got an audition. I was so excited. I was like, oh, wow, my first audition email. This is crazy. And then it's like right in the middle of a show I'm doing. And I'm like, uh-oh, like, hey, I'd hate to say this, but I can't go to my first audition. And she's like, oh no, that's chill. Just self-tape it. And I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, that's great. So I self-taped it, and then I actually managed to land that part. And she was like, no one ever gets their first part. That's like super dumb. But then they wrote out the part. So I didn't get to do it. Still got paid for the day though, because I think once you actually book the role, they have to at least pay you for the day. But then, because I wasn't actually on set or anything, there's no buyout or anything. It was still cool. So I technically landed my first audition, just technically.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
But Bard, very nice. Like they're...
That's the moral of the story.
So, moral of the story, Bard allowed me to have an agent also, so I owe my life to Bard. But I mean, the way I got the part was because no one else could drum. They needed like someone who could do all the acting, and then they could also drum on the drums because they were doing As You Like It but with Beatles songs.
Right.
So like
yeah.
they'd replace like a chunk of text with like a Beatles song. It worked out really nice actually. Like the play was so fun. But you know, I'm playing like 25 Beatles songs a day. So they needed someone who was good at drumming, which is why they couldn't cast the role, because no one could do Shakespeare and then also drum, because who does that?
Yeah, it's a combo.
Yeah.
But then, so one of my professors, when I was still at Cap, sent out a call and was like, hey, if you're rhythmically inclined and are good at Shakespeare, like, talk to me. And yeah, I just sent in 3 self-tapes to her. She sent them off to Bard, and then they were like, hey, we got you. I was like, that's silly. I haven't done any actual work. I don't deserve this.
Do you play the drums in your band? Or?
Oh yeah. Hey, speaking of the band. Yeah. Me and Brendan are in Paul is Dead. Yeah, I play the drums, and then he plays guitar, bass, and vocal.
A real black sheep over there.
He has an octave pedal, so it works out. Yeah, being a 2-piece has been fun though.
If I were to like think of any like position in a band to compare to being a goalie, I think the drummer is very much.
I'm pretty consistent as far as things go. Yeah,
like those are like soul sisters right there.
Yeah, man, drumming's really fun. For me, it's just like such a kinetic instrument that, especially in a punk setting, that's like all I want to be doing. Yeah. Just like, I mean, I guess it is kind of goalie-ish, you know. You're in the back.
Yeah.
You mess up, everybody knows.
I was going to say earlier when you're talking about like the pressure being a goalie and how so much is on you, I was going to say it's pretty comparable to your position as a drummer. Or like if anything happened to you in a set.
Yeah, as a 2-piece, it's a lot less scary. As a 2-piece, like I can fuck up a bit and you'll catch up, and then like, you know, you'll speed up a bit and I can just like level it out. It's so much easier to be more fluent with tempo, I guess, as a 2-piece. I noticed even when we were jamming with our undisclosed practice bass member, it was tough to choose whether to lock into the bass or the guitar if like things were kind of being a little washy. But now I just need to lock into you, so it's super easy.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I think like, I mean, I'm like vaguely musically inclined. Like I like can sort of kind of play a few things. I wouldn't say I'm like good at any of them. But
I've got zero theory, but I can play a couple things.
But like I've always looked to like the drummer to be like, okay, like I'm not gonna worry about rhythm so much. I'm gonna like rely on you. There, like I like, not to say that hockey players don't rely on their goalie, because there's definitely a lot of that. But I think like, I guess it's interesting like that relationship. Like I think the drummer almost takes like a captain role, I guess, in a way. You know, like
it's like, hey, I'm gonna. Yeah, guys, ready?
Like, come on, like here we go, come on, exactly.
It is also kind of like, you know, the last line of defense. Not to downplay any other instruments, but if you're watching a band and you needed one instrument to just be really shitty, you don't want that instrument to be the drums, because then everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if your guitarist is bad, just
turn the drums up.
Enough distortion, you can like mess up and it still sounds cool, as long as the audience has a beat they can still nod to or something.
At this point in the show, we want to do a segment called One Cool Thing, where you can tell us one cool thing you've done, read, or seen in your life or this week.
Oh, okay. In January, I'll have to dance around some NDA, but we'll get there. Okay, I can say I acted in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I think it lasted like from my first day to my last day, it was maybe 2 weeks, from like, you know, initial costume fitting to last day on set, meeting all like these actual actors that I've seen.
I've seen a few episodes of it, but I think it's for that brand of television, like the Riverdale brand. I think it's the best one of that bunch.
Without a doubt.
Thanks for coming down, man.
Hey,
I know.
Thanks for having me, even though
it was a journey that we got here.
Who says podcasts can't have plot twists?
Yeah. we can do that little Tarantino editing. You know, things are non-linear. We come back, we come in, we go later. One of us dies, and we come back to life.
Dude, imagine a podcast edited like a Tarantino film. That'd be the silliest shit in the world.
Or we could memento it.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's our show. You can follow Nicco at Nicco & Co on Instagram, and look up Paul is Dead on Spotify.
Q Gong.